workshop. So if you're standing in the back, feel free to grab an amazing seat to join a very special lunchtime session with an also very special climate leader. Okay, incredible. Can I hand it off to you? All right, let's get into it. Please give her a round of applause. Dr. Renee Lertzman.
Hi, hello. Okay, thank you for inviting me, Christy. I just want to acknowledge the incredible work that's gone into this event. So thank you. We should applaud. So my name is Renee Lertzman, and I've really enjoyed listening in on the sessions this morning and kind of tuning in to the themes that are surfacing. And what I want to invite us to do right now, okay, I'm a psychologist. I'm going to tell you a little bit about my journey in a minute. Before I do that, I want to invite everyone to just literally take a minute, and if you're comfortable, settle in, uncross your legs, feel yourself really rooted on the ground, on the floor. And again, if you're comfortable with it, I would invite you to just close your eyes for a moment. Close your eyes. We've taken in a lot of stimulation, a lot of content. This is a moment, this is a gift where you get to just take a few seconds to close your eyes, have some quiet, and take a couple of nice deep breaths. And just see if you can let yourself relax, settle in. And whatever you've been taking in and processing and learning about for the last few hours, just let it be there, just let it settle and put it down. And just know that it will be there when you come back. And with your eyes closed, or if your gaze is inward, I want you to just take a minute, and if you want, you can kind of put your hand on your heart or your chest and just check in with why am I here today? We're just taking a minute to check in with yourself, with your energy, your care, your concern. Just check in with yourself. Why am I here? What brought me here? And how am I feeling? How am I feeling right now? And all we're doing in this moment, we're just taking a little bit of a pulse check, a little bit of tuning into yourself for a couple seconds. And when you're ready, you can take another breath and come back to the room. And I just want you to notice what might have shifted for you in literally those 2 minutes. What might have shifted for you. So a big part of what I'm offering here is, what does it actually mean to do this work? So I think a big part of what it means to do this work is, number one, honoring yourselves. Honoring what brought you here. Honoring your care. Honoring your concern. Honoring whatever is happening for you right now is leadership. It is resilience. It is all those things we talk about. It starts with yourself. And what I really appreciated this morning hearing on a session talking about self-awareness. Like, again, there's all these things we want to do out there in the world, and there's no outer work out there without the inner work, and there's no inner work without the outer. It's not an either or. So I wanted us to do that little taster to get a sense of using your own experience as a data point, because your experience is the most reliable data point that there is. How you're feeling, how your energy is. Are you bored? Are you distracted? Are you anxious? Are you angry? Are you sad? Are you feeling restless? Do you feel powerless? Do you feel inspired? Do you feel excited? All of these things are your experiences that are data that goes into every aspect of your work on the environment and climate. All of it is there, and it's all resource for you. It's your resource. So before I introduce the kind of focus of the workshop, I want to give you a little context about me and how I got here, which I wasn't planning on, but hearing the stories, this is obviously about career development. So I'll just say that for me, so I don't even know what to call what I do. I'm kind of a climate and environmental psychologist. And what happened for me was when I was an undergraduate at UC Santa Cruz many years ago in the late 1980s, I was sure I was going to be a psychologist. I had already been in therapy, I really loved psychology, but I ended up taking an environmental studies class. And that combination of taking an environmental studies class in the late 1980s and literally learning about all these like insane events and phenomenon happening, and then going to my psychology where there was no acknowledgement of that, I really at that point decided that I wanted to bridge the fields. And I didn't quite know what that meant, but I did know I was not going to be a psychotherapist. I just knew that I wanted to work with people working on the environment and climate. I wanted to work with organizations, with advocates, educators, and so forth. And so that set me on a path, and it was a very non-traditional path because it didn't exist at the time. And so what I ended up doing was a lot of, we heard today about double majoring, about combining things. I can't really say enough about how wise that advice is, to find that sort of area that you feel really lit up about and join it, bridge it with something else that you're also excited about. So that's what I did. And so it's a long story, but I'll just say that I've sort of been making it up as I go, and now what I do is I work with all kinds of organizations. I was embedded at Google for several years. I work right now with Live Nation. I work with IKEA. I've worked with Climate Works Foundation, but I've also worked with startups and founders and NGOs and some big ones and some little ones. So basically, I want this to be a real like encouragement for you to know that there's so much opportunity for you when you follow the thread of what it is that's really alive for you right now. Okay, so what I want to really land from the get-go is the role of humility in this work, the role of humility. So this is Amy Edmondson. She actually has written some amazing books on psychological safety and about what it means to fail. It doesn't matter. Really, what I want to bring in is her voice at Harvard. It's hard to learn if you already know. And so the way I experience this is it's an invitation, because when you're dealing with really high stakes, a lot of urgency, a lot of pressure, a lot of real world threats and problems, it can kind of push you into feeling like you have to know and have to kind of act like you know. And what that can do is it can foreclose that learning mindset, that humility mindset. What I want to say to you is that right now our field, this field we're in, is really evolving. And that's permission to really step into that entrepreneurial, that innovative learning mindset, and humility is going to really serve you really well. So what I wanted to introduce to you is in the kind of along the lines of becoming more self-reflective and being aware of our work, how we show up in it. I really want to invite us to see the work in the environment and climate as inherently psychological. That everything we've heard about today, you can't separate out human psychology. We're humans, these issues are human generated, we're working in human systems and societies and organizations and cultures. So there's no separation, okay? It is psychological, and the more you arm yourself and equip yourself with literacy, psychological literacy will really help you. So I want to kick off by inviting us to do a little bit of a role play, a little bit of something experiential. So I'm going to set it up, and then I'm going to ask you to do it quickly. It's going to be really fast. So in my many years working in this space, I've come to observe that a lot of us have certain ways of communicating and showing up with the work, okay? One of these ways is that we take all the feelings we have about how urgent everything is, and we feel like we have to be cheerleaders. You feel like you have to be really positive, really upbeat, really inspirational. Anyone relate to that? Cheerleaders. Okay. The other mode that is very common is that you may feel you have to be righteous and moral and really bring on the, like, if we don't do something now, this is what's going to happen. And it kind of has that, like, a writing, finger pointing energy. The writer is why something is the right thing to do, okay? And the third mode is also very common, which is I need to educate you. I need to inform you and give you all the information and the data. And it's very heady. And underneath all of these are theories of change, which is like deep down in your heart, you believe, okay, if people were inspired, they would do something. If people know more, they would do something. If people care more, they would do something. And so that gets translated into how you show up in your work. So part of the journey of becoming a professional in this space is becoming self-aware of how you show up without judging it, but being aware. And so I want to have us do a little bit of a quick exercise. We don't have a lot of time today, so it's going to be very like a taste. And I want you to think about, identify an issue that you care really deeply about. Something you might be working on right now, but something that you like, that one issue that you just find yourself either actually working on or you think about a lot. And I want you to pick one of these modes. Just pick one. It could be one that you resonate with or that feels really foreign to you. And I want you to just for a minute kind of land that, like anchor that. There's this one issue you care really deeply about, and I want you to pick a persona of educator, cheerleader, or writer. Okay? And now what I'd like you to do, it's going to get very noisy in here, but bear with us. I want you to turn to the person next to you, and you're each going to take about 2 minutes each, and you're going to talk about your issue through that lens of an educator, a writer, or a cheerleader. I'm going to tell you when to switch, and then you'll do it back. We won't have time to do a full round, but we're going to just do a quick taste, all right? So let's go. Just turn to someone next to you and channel that energy of a cheerleader, a writer, or an educator. Okay, I want you to switch now, if you haven't already. Switch partners. You want to channel that persona. Channel the persona.
Yeah, I mean, education, so I guess I'm no, it doesn't. Educator role. I think just how people are able to knowledge, like education, broad word.
Okay, I'm gonna cut this one. We're gonna wind this one up. Okay, come back. Come back. And I wanna, we can come back. I know that was really quick. But the intention of this exercise is to give you a somatic taste of what it's like to cheerlead, educate, and write. Just notice that, because spoiler alert, that's what most of us are doing in this space. We're cheerleading, writing, and educating. All right, now I want the next round, I want you to stay with the same topic. Okay, stay with the same topic. And this time, sorry, I didn't show you the instructions. This time, you're gonna ask your partner what their experience is with that topic. So, what was your topic?
I'm in education.
Okay, so, your name? Carmen, her topic was climate education, how important it is. So, instead of saying, oh my God, this is like the most important thing ever, we need to get on it, you would say to your partner, what has your experience been with climate education? And you would listen. That's it. What's your experience been? What do you already know about it? And that's it. You're just asking a question and listening. Okay? So you're each going to have a few minutes to do this. All right, round one, go.
Thank you. Yeah, it has been a long process. So I think that will be very good for me. As I work with students like more directly, but I so I'm looking for, and then after graduation, so after I graduate, I was like, where do I want to go? And I was like trying to be a class teacher and so this is an interesting bridge here because yeah, I think that I've always like.
Okay, I want you to switch. So I want you to switch now and ask your partner, what has your experience been with this topic, or this issue? What's your relationship with it? How do you feel about it?
So
Okay. All right, we're gonna come back. I know it's really short, I know.
And then sometimes
But I just want you to notice the difference between those two rounds and how did they feel? How did the two different rounds feel to you? Do you want to share?
I wouldn't have the clue.
To put you on the spot?
What they know from what our conversation was. It was about sustainable resources as far as that work goes from the fashion industry and what circularity could look like and what maybe recycling dollars doesn't really work.
So it was really good to hear the other person's experience in this topic. Okay. There's a lot. Do you want to share what it was like for you?
It really opened up to see, just not seeing my form of climate education from my lens, but opening it up to how other people experience that from childhood to adulthood.
Right.
And how that experience also depends on where they live and how this experience formed.
Right. Amazing. Okay. Awesome. Okay, so basically, I want you to notice in your nervous system the difference between those modalities, because the majority of the work that we do as change makers is often talking at people, and it's pushing, it's convincing, it's persuading, and we have somehow taken this belief that we have to persuade and convince and pitch and sell, and that is it's actually completely not true. If we want to actually build momentum and engagement with your bosses, your managers, people who you want to hire you, or whatever, your funders, we really want to take all that energy and channel it into listening. And it's not only listening, it's not only asking that open-ended question of like, well, what do you think? It's also what I call guiding. And guiding is a language that comes out of motivational interviewing. It comes out of the public health sector. And guiding, all it means is that you are a guide. You take on the identity and the energy of a guide where you know where you might want to get people to go. But in order to do that, you have to flip the entire dynamic so that you elicit and you evoke and you draw out. Now, people ask me all the time, okay, that sounds great for one-on-one or like interpersonally, but what if you're literally doing a campaign? What if you're doing a startup? What if you're running an initiative and doing sustainable fashion? And I would say it's 100% transferable, because we can design instruments and tools and ways of listening and what I call attuning. It's about attunement. It's about tuning in to where are you? Where are your people? So basically, a lot of what I'm talking about is really grounded in psychology. It's grounded in neuroscience. And in a way, my mission is to get this psychology embedded into how we do what we do in the climate and environmental movement. So the invitation is, well, what does my work even look like if I take the science on board? It's really evidence-based. So people are way more receptive if there's a sense of connection versus confrontation. And I think this is pretty game-changing. If everyone at Climate Week applied this one insight, what would our work look like? People are way more likely to resist change when they feel it's being imposed and developed collaboratively. So in 2 sessions ago, I heard a lot of talk about relationality. And what we're talking about here is building relational intelligence for the climate and environmental movement. That's what we are doing and need to be doing more of. So instead of yelling, telling, and selling, we are attuning. We're tuning. So I want to leave us, because we're closing in on time here. Before I leave you with the 3 A's, I want to show you one other thing, because I can tell this group is going to be into it. I'm going to skip this. Okay, I want to talk about the theories of change just for a second. So the movement, the sector that you're in, you are inheriting giving some like theories of change. And I want you to leave this session kind of thinking about this when you hear things out there. The first is a behavior change. How do you get people to change? This is behavioral economics. It's incentivizing, nudging, gamifying, and so forth. The other really popular approach is about messaging. It's about storytelling. It's about language. It's about framing. And then we've got here in Silicon Valley, unlocking. Anyone like heard this week about accelerating scaling? So this is a theory of change, okay? This is like something to really acknowledge. And then finally, how do we create the conditions? Now, in actuality, all of these work synergistically, because you could have a lot of climate cafes and a lot of grief circles and ways for people to process their feelings. That's not necessarily going to lead to scale, right? You could have all the scaling innovation work you want, but unless you deal with how people are feeling about your solutions, you're going to hit resistance. You could have all the storytelling, but if people don't have a way to process and sense make and say, well, what does this mean for me? The storytelling and the messaging falls flat. And if we just focus on trying to change people, you know, it's a very limited kind of blunt instrument, and it's very, frankly, problematic because it's actually really patronizing. So I wanted to just kind of introduce you to this map of these theories of change. Now, if we go back, let me see if guiding principles. Okay, so if we go back to how do we, just one thing you can take out of this, sorry. If we take one thing you can take out of this session in service of being more relational, there's really a simple practice, okay? And I call it the 3 A's, okay? So when you did that exercise where you were listening to the other person, like, what's your experience with this topic? What I want you to be thinking about with all of your stakeholders, no matter who it is, I want you to think about what anxiety might they be having about your topic or your solution. Because I know a lot of us are very inspired by solutions. Like, let's just pick seaweed. Seems very innocuous. Like, okay, seaweed, can get behind that. I can tell you there's going to be some people in supply chain and procurement who are going to be really effing anxious about seaweed. So you want to really tune in to what might the anxiety be that my thing might bring up for other people. The second A is what ambivalence, and ambivalence doesn't mean I'm indifferent. Ambivalence means conflict. Like, part of me wants to join you and another part of me is worried about X, Y, and Z. So ambivalence is ambivalence, it's conflict or dilemmas. Now you might think those don't matter and they're not real, but for the person, they feel very real. You know, I have ambivalence about flying. You know, I have ambivalence about a lot of things. And the third is aspiration, which is what are people really lit up about? Like making a difference. We actually know what human aspirations are by now. Like, there's been a lot of research about belonging, connection, valuing, contributing, you know, mattering, being safe, being secure, like all these things. So the intervention here is to not try to appeal to people's values. Like, oh, you care about nature, I care about nature, let's go. In actuality, there's more to the picture. There's a mix, it's a tangle. It's a tangle. And so what we get to do is be in touch with our own tangles, right? Like, remember, inner, outer. You have to have compassion for your own tangles. But also, how do you tune into the tangles of the people that you want to work with? And that's going to be your superpower. It's going to totally unlock so much for you. It's like an X factor, okay? So it's very simple. What, you know, listening, what are the 3 A's? Now what you do with that is you practice acknowledging the 3 A's. So imagine in a campaign, like a big advertisement campaign about seaweed. I'm just picking on seaweed. Like seaweed packaging. If you want to apply those 3 A's, you would design something that maybe kind of is witty or kind of funny, but like acknowledging like, oh yeah, it's another blah, blah, blah. This may, you know, you name what those things might be and be bold about naming it, because what happens is people feel safer. People feel safer, and really at the end of the day, humans need to feel safe to be open to change. That's why relational skills are so important in this work. You want to help people feel safe. I'm writing a book right now, and it's called So You Want to Change the World. And it's looking at all this neuroscience, and I'm just really into right now learning about the threat response that people have. That we can feel this threat response if we feel someone is pushing at us. And it's not conscious, it's like, oh, like this, what does this person want with me? Like, and in actuality, people literally shut down, even if they're really passionate and care about the same thing. And I've had to learn this personally. Like, I've been told I can be very pushy. I'm like, you know, but because I feel so strongly about my topic, I learned that I was turning people off. And they were like, oh, that Renee is so intense. And I realized I was evoking their threat response. So it's a process, there's no perfection here, but we can practice tuning into and really feeling at a heart level like, wow, these are really big issues. We're asking people to look at really big stuff. So how can I come at this in a way that really helps people feel safe and they don't think I'm gonna judge them or, you know, criticize them? Because unfortunately, a lot of us get that projected onto us, and then we have to kind of go out of our way to say, hey, you know what, it's okay. I'm not gonna judge you. You open to talking about this, right? And that will really support you in the work as you move forward. So Christy wanted me to share, I don't know if this is going to resonate, but if you want prompts for lunch or whatever, you can practice talking about people that you'd like to reach and just brainstorm. Yeah, we're at time. But brainstorm and imagine, well, what might their anxieties be about my topic? Climate education, sustainable fashion, whatever it is. What might ambivalence be there and what are aspirations? And just try it on like a muscle and just keep practicing this and see where it leads you. So I'm really grateful for your time and creating this little container here. And if you want to get in touch with me, I'm really easy to find online. I have a Substack called Becoming Guides. And I really love this whole event and that everyone's here and you're showing up for it. So thank you.